Have you ever wondered what life was really like inside a medieval castle? Behind these towering walls, secrets of the past lie hidden. Stories of nobility, knights, and peasants that shaped the course of history. Join us as we journey back in time, peeling back the layers of stone and mortar to uncover the mysteries of life in a medieval castle. Dominating the landscape, medieval castles were much more than just grand residences. They were imposing military fortresses, vital administrative centers, and enduring symbols of power in an era defined by conflict and conquest. From the 9th and 10th centuries onward, these strongholds became essential, providing refuge and defense against Viking raids, ambitious rivals, and even full-scale invasions. Imagine, if you will, the sight of a castle emerging from the mist, its towering walls a testament to the ambition and insecurity of the age. These were not structures designed for comfort, but for survival. Thick walls, often 10 feet thick or more, bristled with arrow slits, offering protection to the defenders within. The sheer scale of these fortresses, often built on imposing hills or strategically vital river crossings, served as a constant reminder to all who looked upon them of the power and authority of the lord who resided within. Beyond their military significance, castles served as centers of local administration. Within these walls, the lord held court, dispensing justice, collecting taxes, and governing the lives of those who lived within his domain. Yet, for all their imposing strength, castles were not immune to the passage of time, nor to the ingenuity of those who sought to breach their defenses. And so, as we delve deeper into the world of medieval castles, we must remember that these were not simply picturesque relics of a bygone era, but places where history unfolded, where lives were lived, and where the fate of nations was often decided. At the pinnacle of the castle's intricate social ecosystem resided the lord and lady, the undisputed rulers of their domain. The lord, often a powerful baron or earl, held sway over the surrounding lands, owing allegiance to the king and commanding the loyalty of his knights. His word was law, his decisions shaping the destinies of all those beneath him. The lady of the castle, far from the passive figure often depicted, bore a heavy mantle of responsibility. Managing the castle's domestic affairs was a monumental task, requiring her to oversee a small army of servants, ensuring the smooth running of the kitchens, the bedchambers, and everything in between. Food supplies, crucial for the survival of the castle, particularly during times of siege, fell under her watchful eye. In her husband's absence, often on campaign or attending to matters of state, the lady of the castle was expected to rule in his stead. She would hold court, dispense justice, and even command the castle's defenses, proving herself a capable leader in her own right. The cutthroat world of medieval politics was a dangerous game, rife with intrigue, treachery, and shifting alliances. The lord and lady, despite their privileged positions, walked a precarious tightrope, balancing the weight of their responsibilities with the ever-present threat of betrayal and violence. Within the formidable walls of the medieval castle, the knights formed a distinct and formidable presence. These warriors, steeped in the traditions of chivalry, were more than just soldiers. They were the protectors of the realm, the embodiment of courage, loyalty, and martial prowess. Their lives were dedicated to the art of war, their skills honed through years of rigorous training and tested on the field of battle. For a young boy born into a noble family, the path to knighthood began early, often as young as 7 years old. Taken from his home and sent to serve as a page in the household of a lord or another knight, he would begin his long apprenticeship in the ways of chivalry. He would learn the intricacies of courtly etiquette, mastering the art of conversation, music, and dance, essential skills for navigating the often treacherous waters of courtly life. But it was the art of war that truly captivated his young mind. Under the watchful eye of experienced warriors, he would learn to ride, to wield a sword, and to conduct himself with honor and bravery in the face of danger. By the age of 14, having proven himself adept in his duties, the young page would graduate to the rank of squire, becoming the personal attendant to a seasoned knight. Now, his training intensified, focusing on the practicalities of warfare. He would care for his knight's armor and weapons, ensuring they were always in pristine condition, ready for battle. On the field of battle, the squire would fight alongside his knight, acting as his shield and sword, learning firsthand the brutal realities of medieval combat. Finally, upon reaching the age of 21, if he had proven himself worthy, the squire would undergo the solemn ceremony of knighthood. Dubbed with a sword by the lord or king, he would take his place among the ranks of chivalry, bound by a sacred oath to uphold the code of honor, to protect the weak, and to serve his lord with unwavering loyalty. But the reality of a knight's life often differed starkly from the idealized image of chivalry. While the lords and ladies occupied the upper echelons of castle life and knights trained for war, it was the tireless labor of countless servants and peasants that kept the castle functioning, a bustling community within formidable walls. For every noble and knight, dozens of servants toiled tirelessly, their lives a testament to the hard work that fueled the medieval world. In the castle kitchens, cooks labored over roaring fires, preparing elaborate feasts for the lord's table and more humble fare for the rest of the castle's inhabitants. The air hung thick with the aroma of roasting meat, freshly baked bread, and the sweet scent of spices, a sensory symphony that belied the relentless pace of their work. Blacksmiths, their faces illuminated by the fiery glow of their forges, hammered red-hot iron into weapons and tools, the rhythmic clang of their hammers echoing through the castle courtyard. Their skills were essential, ensuring the knights were equipped for battle and that the castle itself remained in good repair. Stable boys tended to the needs of the castle's horses, vital for transportation, communication, and warfare. They mucked out stalls, groomed coats, and ensured the horses were fed and watered, their days a constant cycle of physical labor. But the vast majority of those living within or around the castle walls were not servants, but peasants. These farmers, craftsmen, and laborers formed the backbone of the medieval economy, their toil providing the food, goods, and services that sustained everyone within the castle walls. Life for the peasant family was one of unceasing hardship. They lived in small, cramped hovels, often with dirt floors and thatched roofs that offered little protection from the elements. Their days were ruled by the seasons, their lives dictated by the cycles of planting and harvesting. Castles, with their imposing walls and strategic locations, were designed to withstand the ultimate test, a siege. These prolonged and brutal conflicts could last for months, even years, testing the resolve of both attacker and defender. A castle under siege was a microcosm of the medieval world, a place where ingenuity, determination, and sheer brutality collided. The first line of defense was often the surrounding landscape itself. Castles were strategically positioned on hilltops, surrounded by rivers, or protected by deep ditches, forcing attackers to navigate treacherous terrain before they could even reach the castle walls. The castle walls, often towering several stories high and incredibly thick, formed the next obstacle. Constructed from stone, they were designed to withstand even the most determined assaults. Narrow arrow slits provided a vantage point for archers to rain down a deadly hail of arrows on those below. The drawbridge, a heavy wooden platform that spanned the moat, provided access to the castle gatehouse. During a siege, the drawbridge would be raised, effectively cutting off access to the castle. The gatehouse, heavily fortified and often guarded by multiple layers of doors and portcullises, heavy wooden or metal grills, was the most heavily defended part of the castle, but attackers had their own arsenal of siege weapons at their disposal. Battering rams, massive wooden beams tipped with iron or bronze, were swung repeatedly against the castle gates, attempting to break through by brute force. Trebuchets, enormous catapults capable of hurling huge stones or other projectiles, posed a more ranged threat. These fearsome weapons could reduce walls to rubble and inflict devastating casualties upon those within. As the siege dragged on, both sides resorted to increasingly desperate measures. Defenders would pour boiling oil or pitch down on attackers who dared to approach the walls, while attackers might attempt to tunnel under the walls, hoping to collapse them or gain entry unnoticed. Life within a besieged castle was a nightmare. Food and water supplies dwindled with each passing day. Disease spread by poor sanitation and overcrowding could prove as deadly as any weapon. Beyond the ever-present threat of war, life within the medieval castle, while undeniably harsh by modern standards, was a vibrant tapestry woven from the mundane routines of daily life and the unexpected bursts of color brought by feasts, festivals, and curious customs. For the majority of the castle's inhabitants, days were governed by the rhythms of the natural world. The rising sun signaled the start of the workday, and as dusk settled, candles flickered to life, casting long shadows across the castle walls. In the great hall, the heart of the castle, meals were a communal affair. The lord and lady presided over the assembled household, their elevated position a constant reminder of the social hierarchy that governed every aspect of castle life. Food, often determined by social standing, was consumed with gusto, accompanied by the boisterous chatter of diners and the lively strains of minstrels playing their lutes and harps. Feasts, however, were occasions of a different order altogether, held to celebrate religious holidays, victories in battle, or the arrival of important guests. They were a chance for the lord to display his wealth and generosity. Tables groaned under the weight of roasted meats, exotic fruits, and elaborate pastries, a culinary spectacle designed to impress. Entertainment was equally extravagant. Jesters, with their quick wit and even quicker tongues, provided amusement, their jokes and antics providing a welcome distraction from the formalities of courtly life. Minstrels, skilled in the art of storytelling and song, transported listeners to far-off lands with tales of bravery, romance, and adventure. Tournaments, held in the fields outside the castle walls, were another popular form of entertainment, offering knights a chance to demonstrate their martial prowess in a more controlled setting. The clash of lances, the thunder of hooves, and the roar of the crowd created an atmosphere of excitement and anticipation. But life in the medieval castle was not all feasting and festivities. Disease, ever present and often deadly, cast a long shadow over the castle walls. The medieval castle, for centuries a symbol of power and permanence, began its slow decline as the medieval period drew to a close. The very innovations that had made castles formidable, their imposing height and thick walls, became their undoing as new technologies emerged, forever altering the face of warfare. Gunpowder, that volatile mixture of sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter, arrived in Europe from the east, bringing with it a new era of destruction. Cannons, those fearsome engines of war, could hurl iron balls with incredible force, reducing even the most formidable castle walls to rubble. Castles, once considered impregnable, became increasingly vulnerable. Their high walls, once an advantage, now provided easy targets for artillery fire. The very features that had protected them for centuries became liabilities, their defenses rendered obsolete. As a result, castles began to lose their military significance. The cost of building and maintaining these once impenetrable fortresses outweighed their dwindling strategic value. Many were abandoned, left to crumble into ruin, their silent silhouettes standing as stark reminders of a bygone era. Some castles, however, found new life, their imposing structures transformed into more comfortable residences. Grand windows replaced arrow slits, letting in light and air. Luxurious gardens bloomed where once there were defensive ditches. The roar of cannons gave way to the gentler sounds of courtly life. And so, the echoes of medieval life remain, stories of power, struggle, and survival, forever etched within the stones of these magnificent structures. From the lords and ladies to the knights, servants, and peasants, each played a role in the daily dramas that unfolded within the castle walls. What do you think was the most fascinating aspect of medieval castle life? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the mysteries of history.